So I appreciate the fact that Pentatonix has been introducing me to some new Christmas songs lately. Some that I am not super familiar with. Well, you may know the originals. To be honest with you, I am mainly familiar with the Christmas radio hits. Even some of the classics, but they're still on the radio. So I do not have a deep discography of knowledge into the Christmas music, into the bowels of the Christmas industry. But Pentatonix seems to have a great touch with it, and what's cool about them, and what's cool about the fact of them doing songs that I'm not super familiar with, and not that I'm the judge of what but like, is they're re-giving life, if that makes sense. There's a newness of life to these songs that most people may not know, and they're bringing them back out. So if Pentatonix is doing them, it's going to be a great song. It's going to be great, really well written, really well arranged. So it's cool to almost be like, hey, this is a really great song. While it might not be on the radio, we want to share it, and that's the beauty of music and the beauty of musical taste. And something that I really appreciate. I think is really really cool. So let's get right into this. This is Pentatonix doing track "Children Go Where I Send Thee."
Children go where I send thee. How will I send thee? I'm gonna send thee one by one for the one born Christmas Day. Born on Christmas Day. Children go where I send thee. How will I send thee? I'm gonna send thee two by two. On a 2x2 wood sleigh, one with a one born Christmas Day. Born on Christmas Day. Children go where I send thee. How will I send?
It has this. Canon is not the right word. I believe a canon is when actually somebody starts singing a phrase, and then while they're a quarter of the way through the phrase, somebody starts singing the same exact phrase. This is almost like a repeated. Reprise almost, where every time we come around we add a new harmony. The percussion on here sounds ridiculous. It has this very bright, crunchy kind of sound, almost like it sounds like obviously a kick drum, but it also sounds like a stomp, a clap. Like there's a lot going on. I don't know exactly how they're creating a sound because it has a very punchy, drivey kick drum kind of sound. A crunchy kick drum, if that makes sense, which is cool. They do such a great job of interpreting songs. I'm like I said, I don't know this song firsthand, so this is my first version of hearing it. But it has a very unique tone, and they very almost like what I said before about "Oh Come All You Faithful," with this almost like Lion King-esque vibe. They do a really good job at like kind of creating this world vibe, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't sound necessarily like American pop music, you know what I mean, or even American necessarily a cappella music. It has this world style vibe to it, almost as if they were using like these for example, African percussion instruments or wooden instruments, and it's cool that they're able to recreate that just with their voice alone. It's actually pretty remarkable.
Andy, I'm gonna send you 3x3. Tracks for the little toy trains. Two on a 2x2 wood sleigh.
Wow.
One for the one born Christmas Day.
That is, listen to how far back those vocals sound. That is a beautifully produced little section right there, because that's hard to do. In this two-dimensional space of listening that we typically are used to with like left and right ear, it's really and really 2 dimensions is not even, that's stereo. 2 dimensions is more so loud or quiet. The third dimension would be which would be like how close the sound is, and that's a really hard dimension to record. You can do it in 2 different ways, but both ways are hard to kind of emulate. But one is you can actually step farther away from the mic, but it doesn't translate as well. Another is through reverb, and you do something where like you're actually faking the fact that you're actually far away, even though you're not. There's something called pre-delay, and the way you shift the reverb and the way it starts. But really cool because it sounds like I'm assuming probably Matt and Kevin kind of doing these like layered left and right, like 1, 2, but like they sound so far. It sounds like they're 15 feet away and left and right ear. That's some cool. That's something that I've been trying to create, is that like distant sound and how to do that in music. And so I'm like, that's really cool.
How will I send thee? I'm gonna send you 3x3. 30 tracks for the little toy trains. Two on a 2x2 wood sleigh. One for the one born Christmas Day. Born on Christmas Day. Children go where I send thee.
fun.
Cindy, I'm gonna send thee 4x4. 4 is the 4 caroling at the door. 3 making tracks for the little toy trains. 2 on a 2x2 wood sleigh. 1 for the one born Christmas Day.
It's almost like a 12 Days of Christmas.
Born on Christmas Day. Children go where I send thee. How will I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 5x5. 5 on the ice skating all night. 4 is the 4 caroling at the door.
Ooh, nice change
for the
up.
little toy trains. 2 on a 2x2 wood sleigh. 1 for the one born Christmas Day. Born on Christmas Day. Children go where I
Ooh,
send
modulation. Talking about production, percussion. There's definitely. I'm gonna say this. You know, we have Kevin going with it like kick beatbox and like kick drum, typical style beatbox. I'm gonna say that there's some stuff. I can see them when they sing this that there's gonna be stomping and clapping like this. Dum, bum, bum, dum, you know, like that. I just there's a vibe to it that I have a feeling they were stomping as well, creating that like. I don't know, like it just has I don't even know, just this stomping and clapping kind of vibe, and that's what I think with the brightness, like probably some wooden floor, layered on top of Kevin's typical beatboxing mouth kick drum. This is cool though. It's like a different, brighter to some degree. Not that it's the other version is sad, but like 12 Days of Christmas is not a sad song, but it has this weird vibe to it, if that makes sense, like almost like a somber tone. And I just don't know if it's the way that they were written back in the day that they just sound more official. But like this has this happy, like, where am I gonna send you kind of thing, you know what I mean? Hype vocals.
I'm gonna send thee 6x6. 6 for the 6 jotting down their list. 5 on the ice skating all night. 4 is the 4 caroling at the door. 3 making
Cool
tracks
change
for
up
the
in the
little toy
percussion.
trains. 2 on a 2x2 wood sleigh. 1 for the one born Christmas Day. Born on Christmas Day. Children go where I send thee.
Thought they were gonna modulate.
How will I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 7x7. 7 was the 7 in the kitchen.
Yeah,
with the
cool.
pheasant. 6 for the 6 jotting down their list. 5 on the ice skating all night. 4 is the 4 caroling at the door. 3 making tracks for the little toy trains. 2 on a 2x2 wood sleigh. 1 for the one born Christmas Day. Born on Christmas Day. Children go where I send thee.
Dude, they're like modulation kings and queens, man. It's so wild. Like every song has modulation, and they're done so well. They're done tastefully, where they're not overdone. You know what I mean? What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, Matt's bass is phenomenal in this song. The way that it's one thing, you could do this with post production, but the tightness of vocals when you, for example, if I were to layer my vocals or just sing, because I'm one vocalist, so I have to layer my vocals. Like I don't have a couple of members in my Jacob Restituto, So when I have my vocals, I will sometimes layer them, or even harmonies. And what happens is sometimes they're a little out of sync because one starts a little earlier, one starts a little behind. So you can go in there and you can actually manipulate them, or you could be really conscious to try and start them at the same time. But one thing I really appreciate them, because I've seen them live, is they're naturally this in sync with each other. Now I'm sure there's a little tweaking here and there that they do. Kevin might have started a little early, or Mitch might be a little bit behind. Whatever the case, like that happens. They're humans, and that's the beauty of music. They're humans, but so there's definitely, I would assume, some shifting here and there. But from what I've seen live, is they are able, for the most part, to keep it incredibly in sync, and that's one of the things that I find so impressive, is their timing with each other is so well done.
I'm gonna send the 8x8. 8 for the 8 that's
Nice.
7 was the 7 in the kitchen with the pheasant. 6 for the 6 jotting down their list. 5 on the
When was the last time you had a pheasant?
4 was the 4 caroling at the door. 3 making tracks for the little toy trains. 2 on a 2x2 wood sleigh. 1 for the one born Christmas Day. Born
I really noticed the tightness in Matt's bass.
Children go where I send thee. How will I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 9 by 9. 9 for the 9. Put it up by the line.
Nice.
7 was the 7 in the kitchen with the pheasant. 6 for the 6 jotting down their list. 5 on the ice skating all night. 4 was the 4 caroling at the door. 3 making tracks for the little toy trains. 2 on a 2x2 wood sleigh. 1 for the one born Christmas Day.
Nice.
Born on Christmas Day. Children go where I send thee.
Nice.
How
Matt.
will I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 10 by 10. 10
Hear like the O's and oohs and ahs going on in the background. Like that distance is so good. One thing I also want to say is they're incredibly good. This is one thing I really appreciate them. This song is incredibly repetitive. It's one of those songs where it's like, oh, we're counting all the way to whatever 10 or 11. How like it's like the same. It's one of those songs that just keeps repeating. Same melody, same everything. Just slightly changing the lyrics. So it's like, wow, okay, interesting. But one thing that keeps them interesting is the fact that their production is, they know how to keep you engaged. It's almost like video editing, if that makes sense, where as a video editor, you want to change frames or change shots every once in a while. For example, if I'm filming a vlog, I might have the camera over here for, I might say 2 or 3 sentences over here, and then I'll pause for a second and put it over here. You can't even see it. So I might have it over here in this direction, and then sitting on my desk. And then I put it over here on my desk, and then I'm shifting this way as opposed to being this way. And, and then maybe the third one, I'll be like over here talking like this. And that little difference in framing gives a whole another perspective to the audience, where it's like, there's things changing in your eyes and your vision while you're still telling one cohesive story and still following sentence by sentence. The little visual changes make a big difference. And one thing that I find really, so you could do that in music too, though, by the way you pull things in, put things, like change things, even with a repetitive song. And one thing that I see them doing with this repetitive song is the fact of they're really good at pulling things in and or pulling things out, I guess is a better way. Like that minor detail, I think we were at 9 when Mitch had that riff, and like the final coming back down on the 1 where Matt had that riff. Like those little details are like, oh, that was really cool. And it makes you forget that, oh, we're saying the same melody, same lyrics 10 times in a row. And that's what's cool about it, is because now if you've heard the song once, you're like, oh wait, you're waiting for Mitch to have his riff, you're waiting for Matt to have that run, and that's a really cool thing about doing a repetitive song and almost giving the freedom, which would be cool to see live if they repeat it just like the way it is, or if they do like, because it's so repetitive, it gives you a lot of freedom to do a lot more, if that makes sense, and all these riffs and runs wherever you want. Huge layered choir vocals, gang vocals. Ooh, this slide up was sweet, man. What a cool track. And again, like what I said is, they do a really, really good job at keeping a repetitive song interesting for the listener. Just in the way they change minor details, I think makes such a big difference.